Yes, I am Darlene Taylor, the state representative for District 173. I'm seeking re-election, and I'm hoping that I've done a good enough job. I think that the people of this district deserve great representation, and I've tried to provide that to you. I currently represent you on the Public Safety, Homeland Security, Insurance, and Children and Youth Committees. They're important places of service. These are things that I have a lot of background in and knowledge, and I've been able to be helpful. In talking about my political beliefs, they do mirror the Founding Fathers, and I think that we've all believed in the Constitution. I believed in it and lived by it before it became a buzzword. One of the most important parts of it has to do with the 10th Amendment, which is the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited to it by the states are reserved for the states respectively. That means the state needs to exercise its rights. We've given a lot of our rights up to the federal government. I think that needs to be recovered. There's many things here I can tell you about myself. I see many faces and people that know who I am and what I represent. I've been a conservative businesswoman in Thomas County for over 30 years. My family and I have several family members here tonight. My husband John is here. My son John is here. Again, I have 2 sons, 5 grandchildren, and there's nothing more important to me than the future of Georgia. We all have a lot at stake here. Running a government is not easy. The only requirement your state legislature is given through our state constitution is to provide you with a balanced budget. In these tough economic times, it has been extremely difficult. Decisions have had to be made. Where are we going to get the resources to fund every agency in every part of the state? It's not been easy. When you look at the statistics, the Georgia population in the last 10 years has grown by 11%. Our inmate population has grown by 15%. That's an expense that the state has to fund. When you look at our number of employees that are unemployed, they've lost their job. In 10 years, the number of unemployed is up by 53%. Another byproduct of that is the number of people that are on Medicaid and peach care, 44%. We had a very taxing and difficult decision to make when it was time to fund the necessities of life for people in the state of Georgia. It was not an easy task. We addressed many things. One of the things I talked about 2 years ago when I stood before you was a zero-based budgeting. I think the agencies within our state needed to be responsible for how they spend the money. This is your money they're spending. We've started a new process, and it was passed through Senate Bill 33, and it is the Zero-Based Budget Act. I'm very proud of that. I think it's something that will help all of us to know monies that is not necessary can be seen much more easily and identified, and we are able to save money in the state budget. There was another bill that was especially important to rural Georgia, and that was the Metal Theft Act. Many of us live in rural communities. Nothing is worse than coming home for either a farmer or some of our churches to find out somebody has come in and stolen and ruined air conditioning and other systems just to steal the metal out of it. It doesn't sound like much unless you're that farmer or you're part of that small community church. We addressed many, many important things. That was one of them. I think one of the most outstanding things we did was to help those in human trafficking. The state of Georgia was #1 in the nation for human trafficking. That is a blight on our state that needed to be addressed. We took that on. We've passed much harder laws for those that are dealing in human trafficking. It's not pretty, it's not something that's fun to talk about, but it's an important issue because it's the lives of Georgians. There were many other things that we addressed. I think there's a lot that could be said. I was proud to serve you. I think that I've done a good job. I have to tell you that I really do thank you for the honor you've given me for allowing me to represent you. And yes, my district has changed. I'll be covering other parts of Southwest Georgia. I look at it as I'm making new friends. I have so many friends in Thomas County. You've supported me. One of the things I can tell you that I took this as a job, which is what it is. When I decided to run for this 2 years ago, I did what a business person does. I wrote a business plan. I knew that there was going to be money that needed to be raised. There were going to be people that had to be made as far as making a connection with them and learning to get along with others, looking for common ground. You heard that earlier tonight. Those are the things that we all need to work together on. As part of that, I realized that there was going to be a need to raise money. I couldn't afford to run a campaign. I do have a lot of support, both from within the district and without. But I think you need to be very careful when you're talking about ethics and making implications about where money